Hi guys, Chris here. Video blog this week is about promoting other people or other businesses within your business, and it's quite an interesting topic as it could have a sort of couple of different directions. And this has really been prompted by a couple of questions that clients have specifically asked me, but also I've come across a number of people, a number of businesses who are promoting things that either don't necessarily make sense or they're actually in some way kind of diminishing their own marketing and their own kind of value being put out there. And I guess my blog this week really just wants to make you stop and think a little bit about what you're doing, just to make sure that it does actually make sense and you have thought things through properly. So if we start off looking at the whole sort of collaboration and working with other businesses, well, that's great and it's all fluffy and it can be very good for business. Now, I suppose the first point is it's not always good for business. People just go, oh yeah, collaboration's brilliant, we'll collaborate with everyone. Well, my own personal view is sometimes collaboration's a bit rubbish. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't do it, but make sure you're doing it with the right people, and certainly promoting people in your business is the same thing. So the first bit that you should really think through, that if you are promoting someone in your business or another business in your business, make sure that it makes sense. Make sure there's a logical connection between your business and their business. To give an example, if you were, I don't know, say a car mechanic and you were going to promote car insurance. Let's take as an example, just thinking off the top of my head, not a great example, but it's good. There's an obvious connection between the two. You have a car. If you've gone to a car mechanic, you might be sort of forgiven for thinking, well, they might know about car insurance. If we take a sort of counter example of a business I've come across recently where they were promoting, their own business was around social media and social media management, and the business they were promoting alongside what they were doing was effectively designer stationery, for want of a better word. Now, this isn't a comment on the quality of the businesses. I'm sure they're both really good quality businesses and both doing very well. But if I'm going to someone for social media, I'm not sure, I could be wrong, you might see the logic in this. I don't necessarily expect them to be trying to sell stationery. Let's take a real extreme example. If someone is a fruit seller, it would be bizarre to see an advert for financial advice. I'm going around in circles here. Hopefully you get the point here. It's making sure that the business that you're going to promote makes sense, and the really important thing here is that if it doesn't make sense, you're going to confuse people. So if we use the fruit seller as an example, if the fruit seller is also advertising financial advice, well, people are just going to go, you know what, that kind of doesn't make sense in any way. And the important thing to understand is that the default position of a human being, if they're confused, is to do nothing. So if you're going to start confusing people with other things you're promoting, you're going to stop people actually doing things with you. And that's really important to think about before you do it. Next thing to think about is, if the business you're promoting does make sense, a logical connection, make sure you're not actually cutting across your own business. Now, that might sound blindingly obvious. Why would you promote one of your competitors? Well, the reality is I've seen 3 businesses over the last couple of weeks. No one in this group, I'll be clear to point out, and actually nobody who's a client either. But I've come across 3 instances where basically at times these businesses are promoting other businesses that effectively do exactly what they do and would effectively take clients off them, for want of a better way of looking at it. And I'm sure in some instances you could think through, that's a great idea, but off the top of my head I couldn't think of one. And it's important just to stop and think when someone says, oh, will you promote this? It's like, well, hang on, are these guys going to cut through what I do? Now, the important thing here is it doesn't have to be exactly what you do, but if it's in a very similar space, it could be that they're stealing, for want of a better word, in speech marks, the money that client was going to spend on you. They're actually stealing it to spend on them instead. So be very aware of that and think it through. Make sure that that's not going to happen, because obviously, why would you promote something that diminishes your business? That to me just doesn't make sense at all. And I think the other thing to think about here as a sort of little bit of a kind of thing to go alongside this is actually about promoting your business, because those same three examples, there was way more promotion of these other businesses than there was of their own business. And again, that doesn't really make sense to me, because you should be promoting your own business and you should be blasting it out there all over the place, obviously keeping it relevant and interesting to your target audience, but you should be putting lots of stuff out there. Now, these guys weren't putting anything out there, or putting very little out there, but were promoting other people's businesses. And what's that about? You've got to promote your own business. You've got to put it out there, because otherwise you're just, again, shooting yourself in the foot. And I think the last thing to think about on this, which is kind of put a little bit in the mix also, is about if you are promoting other people's businesses, what should you be paying them, and what should they be paying you if you're being promoted elsewhere? Now, this is a separate topic, and I will cover this at some later point, but it's something just worth to think about. Is if you are going to be promoting their business, are you going to get something for that? There might be a number of reasons why you do or don't want some form of recompense for that, but again, think about it so that at least you know the answer, or you know what you'd like to achieve before you actually get there. As I said, I will cover this as a separate subject. It's quite a big topic. But the key bit, just to wrap up here, is about make sure that you do actually think about promoting other people's businesses. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure it's not cutting across your own business. And importantly, make sure that the amount of promotion that's going out there, way more of it is about your business than about theirs, because otherwise you might as well just go into advertising and market their business for them. And I don't think that's what you really set up for. Hopefully that's useful. If you've got any other questions or thoughts on this, do post below, and I will see you again next week.